forward.
Yeah.
As we consider these huge developments, and if we're not even sufficient for what we have now.
We are sufficient. We are lucky. I've said this before.
But we don't just be lucky.
We have great water right now, but tomorrow that could all change.
Yeah.
And I heard somebody at the board meeting last time say, well, we can go to a system, a membrane system. Even our superintendent believes that is something that's simple, but in terms of cost per gallon, is the difference between riding a horse and taking a jet airplane. Traverse City, for example, we draw our water out of the ground, put some chlorine in it, and you drink it. And Traverse City, for example, has a hollow fiber membrane system that will probably cost $100 million. It operates at least 10 times the cost per gallon. And that's to make sure the water, and that's just on the drinking side. The waste side can be just as different. So that's why I said I get a little nervous.
Well, keep letting us know that, please.
Thank you for advocating on our behalf.
Yes, yeah.
Welcome. We're moving on to the Emergency Services Committee.
Yes.
Mr. Skippa.
Mr.
Skipper.
You're thinking of Skip, right? Yeah.
Well, I was a skipper.
It's your name, right? Your maiden name.
Try not to
That's true.
get angry.
That's
Okay.
Okay, first, thank you very much for agreeing to sign that contract to get us through July 31st of 2020. Just let you know, update you a little bit what I've been doing. I've been talking to all of the other board committee members, getting a feel of what their boards are thinking and so on. They're wondering what they're going to do. Some have said they're working on raising the millage for the ambulance service, etc. Some are still not sure what they want to do. One even told me that they're ready to sign the contract already for the larger amount. A couple things, or one thing that we're all in agreement to, and you guys asked me to check alternative ways. There's a whole list of things that we could do, but we all do agree, talking to everybody, let's talk to Life again, Life Ambulance. And I agree with that. And I'm going to give you a little background. Life has been doing very well. They've received more territory. They're now covering Columbia Township, that's right at the border of Lee Township on the south end. They received some more area up by Coopersville because AMR has been lacking in response. They're not doing as good as they used to. There was a big meeting here in Holland with the Holland Hospital, the fire chiefs, Holland City, Park Township, Zeeland. Those people there were not happy with AMR in Holland Hospital to the point they're doing a trial with Life Ambulance. They get first refusal for transports from Holland Hospital to Grand Rapids. AMR had a request here a little while back, transported peach patients to the Children's Hospital. AMR told them to take it 12 hours to get an ambulance there for priority 1 transport. So that triggered that. Life is now in Holland Hospital doing the transports. In that meeting, AMR found out that Zeeland Spectrum has already been given Life first refusal for the last 7 or 8 months because of their lack of performance. So it's a good idea for us to look at Life and see what they will offer. Yeah, a lot of phone calls, a lot of checking. It's moving along. When will this meeting happen with Life? I'm not quite sure. Don is going to spearhead that. Him and I will go meet. We're even talking about going to go to these new areas that Life is in, talk to the fire chiefs, because those people have it up front. They're the front guys that are there first, and see how they like Life and what's been going on. I mentioned Mr. Steve Stegman before. That is the grandfather of EMS for Southwest Michigan. He helped us put our first responder program together here back in 1985. He is retired, but he's still in the EMS world. He is actually working with the city of Holland to make them a heart-safe community, so he's in on all of these meetings, what's going on, and he's a good line for me to talk to, good reference, and he said they look at Life because they've really improved their stuff. So, our next meeting for the ambulance board is March 12th at 7 o'clock. We're going to have some discussions about the Life. Hopefully we can see them before we have that meeting and bring some more information back to you guys.
Any ideas, Tony, about any information that you have about life, you know, their fees and charges compared to, or it just varies?
Well, you mean in what their cost is for transports, or what they would subsidize, what they would need for subsidy?
Right.
I can tell you that when the ambulance board put out for bids last time, life was at $198,000. But there's a few things that have happened that might make Fenville a little more desirable to him, that he would be willing to help us out a little bit. AMR said it's $195,000. There is no helping you get to there in 3 years, 4 years. He wanted it last December when we had our meeting. You know, that he did let us go till July of 2020. What's happened is that life is getting to be in Holland more and more. They're now at Columbia Township, which is the south border of Lee Township. Fenville would be right in the middle, that he would house these ambulances. If he's gonna get the, I'll call it the contract, with the city of Holland, or the Holland Hospital, he would have to be there in an X amount of time. We have a priority one to go to Grand Rapids, he's gotta be there very quickly. Right here it is. That's 12 minutes to Holland Hospital, and he would backfill that from Columbia or from Allegan, what is the service there. So, we're excited to go talk to him, and me being on an ambulance service for so long in there, I know the value of that, and I'm sure Mr. Myers knows the value of that already, but just point it out to him. Can you help us? Can you sharpen that pencil a little bit? Can you help us get to 195 maybe in 3 years or 5 years, so that it gives us all a chance to figure out our villages, what we're going to do, ease the communities into this is what we got to do over the next few years. Did I answer you? Did I get your question answered for you? Okay.
Do you need anything from us?
Just I guess patience, you know, and
We can show that.
don't be a patient right now, please. But if you have any questions or thoughts, you know, feel free to call me, text me, whatever, or I'll call you. But we're just researching right now, trying to figure out a way to do this. And again, looking at the life thing, and the reason for it is that AMR is looking to be more unstable all the time for the things that they're doing. And I'll even tell you this, they were not going to do tulip time. This new guy, this new manager up there was going to cut out servicing tulip time. But about a week later, he changed his mind. And because I can only imagine, Life Ambulance would have stood right up and said, I'll tell you what, we'll put trucks there. Because that's a big event, you know, and it's just something that AMR has been doing for years, and they should continue to do. And he's made it known that he is just going to service 911 calls, and that's it. So, just think there's, you know, don't know how long this guy's going to be there. They're just not stable. They're a national ambulance company. The thing about Life, they're right here in Michigan. This is where they started. This is where they're at. Their headquarters is Grand Rapids. They've got big headquarters in Kalamazoo, and they fill in a lot all around us. They're getting closer and closer here, so they're going to be here a lot longer than I think AMR is.
And they'd like to be here.
Yeah, and matter of
We
fact,
could use that.
Mr. Nagel has seen them on 118th multiple times in the last few months. I just saw one on Blue Star Highway at 4 o'clock this afternoon when I was getting my mail, passing up, going south on Blue Star. So they're here more and more. So it might be. We still might have to pay somewhat more. That $70,000 a year for 30 years was very inexpensive. But again, the reason why they did it, because of the value of stopping anybody getting into Holland, because Holland is a good payer. They pay their bills well. So, okay, anything else? I'll be back.
May I comment?
Yep.
Yeah, I just want to thank you, Tony. Tony's been doing a lot of work for us, and we're very fortunate to have him advocating on our behalf. This is a difficult situation. As we all know, there's no easy answer to this. It's been frustrating, and I appreciate Tony's patience with me through, my frustration.
Sure.
But I think for the board, it's just to remember exactly as Tony mentioned, to be patient, but also when we do get a recommendation from the Emergency Services Committee, then being able to evaluate on its merits here for Saugatuck Township. But I know from the staff perspective, I look forward to seeing what the Emergency Services Committee can propose and trying to figure out if that's in our best interest. But thank you, Tony. You've really helped us, so thank you.
think
see
we
that.
can add
How come
that.
our pictures aren't up there?
If you wanna send me a picture, I'll put it on
Oh.
my
I would love
Well,
to.
you got our pictures.
I can do that.
Or I could shoot the pictures. Did you get the one I sent
I
you?
didn't even see that.
Of the training, you
Yes,
told me?
yes, yes.
Oh, okay.
I think, yes.
Use that one.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was,
Let's have them a good sport.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. I gotta run. My wife is waiting.
That's all right. Thank you. You're patient.
Thank you, yes.
All
Great.
right.
We can move on to 13H, open board report.
Excellent.
I'll kick that one off.
Can I have a
Real
oh, you're going.
easy.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Don't
I
go,
will be
people, please stay.
absent on the, for the April meetings for spring break with my kiddos.
All right.
Okay. Just wanted to get that out there ahead of time.
All right.
I skipped last year, so. I didn't go to Florida last year. My family went without me. I
See,
was here for the board
you're
meeting.
too young to talk like that.
Spring.
April.
And April, I'm sorry.
Spring.
Spring vacation
All right.
in April.
Okay.
She's gonna be gone this spring.
Okay.
That covers a lot.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for waiting. I've got 3 items, and I think they're all pretty interesting. But one, please remember we are in the middle of the annual peanut butter drive. Last year, we filled it was overflowing, and there's like hardly anything in there.
Where's the
Please.
publicized?
What?
How does,
It's been everywhere. It's been in the papers, Facebook, Griffin's pushed it. I see posters at the grocery
I have
store.
not seen it except I
No,
saw the bin here.
It's there.
Okay.
And the bin has like
Spread the
5
word.
jars of peanut butter in there.
Well, and the library box is overflowing.
Put some
So
over here. We
last
got
year
room.
ours overflowed. I guess that's the fire sheet helped last year too. I'm getting embarrassed.
Oh, okay.
All right.
On a more serious note, a good serious note, this has taken 2 months or more to get scheduled, and I think I have it scheduled. But we're hoping to host, I think, 4 representatives from, and this, we'll talk more about this, but Gun Lake Investments. And this is the investment arm of Gun Lake Casino, that invests all their money. And they just bought the McKay Tower, that historic, office tower downtown Grand Rapids, probably the iconic building downtown. And, their CEO, their president, and another board member, I think, are on this agenda to come visit us, get a tour of the township, talk about opportunities we have for development, whether it's small houses, solar panels, retirement villages. We have a lot of properties to sell, and they got a lot of money. So I'm really excited about that. We gotta figure out what the plan is for the couple hours they'll be here. And then I mentioned this earlier, but on the tri-community meeting front, Brenda and I, Trustee Marcy and I also attended the Douglas meeting, met their new council people, their new mayor, offered them an invitation, they've accepted. So all 3 of us are on board, and I know it's in the list, but I'm hoping to not make it your problem.
Right.
Problem. We can handle it. And you've got more than enough to do, but I'll let you approve it or stamp it. So, I'm hoping we do this early May before season starts. April, I'm hearing a lot of people are traveling, so that's the goal. We may not get every elected official in this meeting, but it's a start. There will be an agenda developed. It'll be open to the public, and we're aiming to do it in a neutral space. So, stay tuned. Thank you.
Can I make one comment in regard to that?
Do it too.
Again, well, and I'm happy that you all are taking the lead on that. Again, please, I'm happy to do what I can to help. My one suggestion would just be, be cautious when it comes to Open Meetings Act and getting proper posting for all 3 jurisdictions.
Oh, yeah. Well, these are 3 governments that, they know that. I mean, we all.
Well, my suggestion would be if it's being led by board members, let's not.
I'll pretend you didn't say that.
Well, I don't mean that necessarily for you all, I mean that for
We were
everyone.
reciting the OMA code before you were. We got stung a few times, but point taken.
I got nothing.
Oh, come on.
Got nothing.
Look at these people,
I'm
yeah.
a mess.
We're falling asleep.
Managers report, item 14.
We're really.
Right, we're not done yet.
I know the managers.
Yeah.
I know the manager's report is always thrilling as well, so I'll try to be brief. Few important topics though. First off, the Park Street Road project. So the township, there is a small, about 360 feet we're talking about approximately $5,000. We have money in the budget, so via our current purchasing policy, I could administratively approve that. But I want you to all be aware that, we will be working with the city of Saugatuck, on that project. The road commission highly recommended we take advantage of this opportunity because of its remote location and small size. Bluntly, if we didn't take advantage of this opportunity, it would never get repaid. So it's one of those things that we're fortunate that we are in the position we're in to be able to take advantage of that opportunity. So I want to report that.
Can we make that contingent on the city of Saugatuck signing a cemetery agreement with the township? Just a thought.
So Blue Star Trail, another opportunity for cooperation. Staff's currently attempting to schedule the first meeting of the joint study committee that was established at the January 8th board meeting. Currently, it's tentatively scheduled for February 26th here at the township. I'm waiting to hear back from a few other people before confirming that date. Also, in regard to the Blue Star Trail, at this point, a representative is tentatively scheduled to attend the March Township Board meeting to give an update on the proposed route. Staff felt like this was important because of, again, not only the turnover here at the township, but all of the different changes in regard to the Blue Star Trail over the last year or so, to have them come in, be a good partner and have an opportunity to hear from them. So they'll tentatively be giving a brief presentation towards the beginning of the March meeting. As you all know, the township recently completed a water service inventory as required by the state in association with the lead and copper rules. In follow-up to that, the township, with help of Cal Lake, sent notices to potentially impacted properties. We've been fielding some questions in regard to these notices, but next steps are going to include developing a plan to confirm the services that could not be confirmed with our current records. And in the long term, have the township board realize we're going to have to replace any service lines that cannot be confirmed to be lead-free. There is a lot of contention with these rules. I'm sure Mike's got a lot of thoughts. I think for right now, the biggest point to point out is we're getting a lot of regulations handed down by the state. A lot of communities across the state are frustrated and concerned with how these are going to be funded. At this point, I want you to be aware the township is being a rule follower. We're doing as directed, but in the long term, especially as we get to the more costly pieces of these mandates, the township's going to have to seriously consider how we're going to fund these different mandates. So the last thing with that is just in advance, I really appreciate all of your patience, and I appreciate the patience of our residents who are going to be impacted by this. It is all about safety. That's the reason for it, but there's a lot that's still being figured out. So in follow-up to your January 8th meeting request, staff did work with our engineer to get a better idea of what reviewing connection fees was like. I know based on some of your questions, I talked about that a little more. I'm happy to answer some more questions about that. If that's now or later, in regards to next steps, I'm still going to be looking for feedback and direction in regard to that. Jim mentioned it, and you all have been briefed, but Sundown Park was closed this week due to damages to the drain under the park. This will be temporary, but at this point, there's no timeline for reopening. As I've stated multiple times, it's the township's priority to put safety first, and just with the ever-changing nature of the high water and erosion, I'd rather be safe than sorry. So right now, Sundown Park is going to remain closed. I'll do my best to keep you all updated and advocate for our residents in regard to the Lakeshore Drive high water erosion situation. Other than that, there's not a lot of change before the last meeting, except we did hold an update in the last month to update residents on the progress we've been making. We're continuing to spend a lot of time and effort in trying to find both short and long-term solutions. And lastly, I'm starting to work on the fiscal year 2020-2021 budget. the board can anticipate the timeline, that I showed you briefly in the financial policy handbook. Overall, this is gonna be a team effort. I believe it'll also be really eye-opening for the board as we look to right-size our budget. I'm happy to discuss. I know it's gonna require a lot of cooperation, but, overall, we're gonna work really hard to reformat the budget, make it a more usable and transparent document, and also justify the amounts, not only, for our administrative purposes, but for you as a board, for the accountability side, and for our public, or for the public to understand, what we use taxpayer dollars for. My goal is that this will help to inform our future conversations when it comes to either the needs for additional revenue or the needs to cut expenses. So with all of that, or I guess anything we've really discussed, I'm happy to do the best I can to answer any questions.
I'll call you at 3 a.m.
You're welcome.
About when I think of them.
He'll be at the office.
I'll be by you.
He will.
Griffin.
Thank you, Griffin.
Moving on to public comment, item number 15. Yes,
Yes.
I had planned on saying anything, but Lori Gaspard, 64th Street, since you were talking about it, I think in front of where John and I are, it's 35.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, no, there's 3 levels.
yeah, and my concern is, if it does go up beyond that, as it is, fly down there, I've had a dog get hit
Yeah.
and killed. This is a series of horrible things, but Holland Street, just for reference, since it came up, has a lovely sidewalk.
That's
that
right.
Neighbors can safely walk on, and I use it a lot. So, as one who walks 2 dogs, and I see tons of people walking their dogs, and we don't have a safe sidewalk, I just wanna say 35 is a great fast speed, but anything more than that, and it's scary to think about. Just as a person who walks her dogs, and I take the walk into town on the bike trail very happily on a regular basis, so.
That's a really good point, and they
Yeah.
probably don't even take that into
And isn't it 40 on the 134th? On the far side of the golf course. I'm pretty sure it's 40. And that's pure residential.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's really
No,
unsafe,
that's,
it is.
it's odd.
really, really unsafe. So if it goes up, I'm gonna have a problem.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't do this.
Speed bump. I didn't say that.
Well, I'm still in favor of the roundabout.
What happened to that?
I know I
Where did
forwarded
it
you
go?
the stuff.
it's the cost, basically, it's just outrageous, isn't it?
What?
I just encourage if there's conversation that can happen.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
right.
Yeah,
You are correct. I just remembered.
Okay, any more public comments? I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.